Live and direct, Soundwaves Radio. I'm your host, the Deacon is speaking. To my right, very important person you should know, Breakbeat Lou. So, see, I'm not fucking around on my intros anymore. I'm being more serious. I have to. So we're gonna just kind of take you through the narrative of Breakbeat Lou, and then he's gonna bless us with the top 5. So Lou, let's take it back to the beginning. First, musical memories as a kid.
Age of 3, playing bongos, then graduated to congas. That was when my first love for music, and from there, by that being incorporated into my life, I purchased my first record, which was Cheche Cole by Willie Colon and Hector Lavoe. After that, everything just went, strictly on the love for music. Got introduced to DJing in '74. Joined the crew in that time. Became the craft of being a DJ, in the bedroom and just doing the things we had to do. '78 was the first time that I actually could say I bought a record as the digger, which was Space Dust by Manzel. And the rest of that is just bonus we call history, for sure.
You said you were doing it in the bedroom. Was there a certain thing back in those days where you had to really pay dues to be able to actually rock a party?
Well, there was a criteria you got to have. I mean, there was, of course, the guys that owned the equipment. They get the DJ regardless. Now, anybody else besides that, you had to earn your dues. And by earning your dues meant you had to carry the crates. People don't know what crates, not the little crates on Serato. We're talking about the milk crates we used to steal from the grocery stores that was delivered the milk back in those days at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. We take those crates and they for whatever reason, they fit 12 inches exactly where they need to fit.
Not anymore, though, right?
Not anymore, smaller now, but that was the reason why, because they was being stolen so much. So, you had to do that. We carry crates. We were in charge of, when we did jams outside, setting up the equipment, and that's what it was. And until you earn your dues, at least 2 or 3 years, I can remember doing that, unless you had your own equipment. That's how it was. You only were able to touch the equipment only when the equipment was in the house.
But you were in the Bronx, right?
I was in the Bronx. I grew up, let's say, maybe between a quarter to a half a mile away from where the inception of hip-hop started, which was in Cedric. I lived on University Avenue on the West Bronx, right between Fordham Road and 103rd.
When you first got to rock a party, was it nerves?
Oh, crazy! It's still nerves to this day, and I think if you don't have those, then that's a problem. Because I say it's something you gotta understand. The DJ is the maestro of a party, club, or whatever you want to call it. You have to paint the picture to the dance floor to make them sure that they're not going to be bored of what you're playing, and you got to make sure that you take that craft and you know how to find the proper segues, the proper transitions, and the proper selection of music to make sure that between the whole night, from the beginning of the night to the end of the night, there's a story that was told that will be memorable to those people the next day when they hung up or whatever. They say, "Yo, we had fun last night."
Who were some of your favorites coming up?
Well, DJs most definitely. I mean, my immediate influence was Charlie Chase from the Cockroach Brothers. Not to take anything from Flash, because they were there before him, and Theodore, and of course Kool Herc and Bambaataa. But my major influence most definitely was Charlie Chase from the Cockroach Brothers.
Rocking the crowds, what was it like on the street parties? I mean, was it all peace? Everyone getting along, having a good time?
Yeah, but that time, what it was, people may know as the Dozens. It was like, I'm going to diss you, and you're going to diss me, and we're going to see who gets the most crowd reaction. It wasn't nothing like, I'm going to knock you out or whatever. It was nothing that kind of attack. It was like, okay, I got better rhymes than you, or you look funny, your afro's all messed up, your socks are dirty, or something, that kind of situation. And, the biggest battle I can remember that was always a constant rivalry was Coco's Brothers and Fantastic Five. If anybody, whoever saw Wild Style would know that that rivalry. And that's what it was, exactly. So, you would have, because Cass lived like a block away from me, so you would have Donald Rock and we would come to the crew and say, "Oh, we're going to take you Harlem World Saturday. You guys ain't going to win no trophy. We're going to take you," and they would come in and just chat. But, at the end of the day, they were all homeboys. If you notice now, you will see tours with Charlie Chase and Whip a Whip from the two rival crews that were back in those days. So, it was something, it was a respect. It was just who can rock a party better. That's what it was.
Was there a lot of that, you mentioned Wild Style, was there a lot of that uptown meets downtown thing really happening?
Oh, always. It's like I said, the thing was, who was the better crew in New York? You had, Cold Crush and Fantastic and Furious 5 were all in the Bronx. Then you had, Force MCs, now Force MDs in Staten Island. Then you had guys like the Crash Crew in the city. You had different crews. Then you had the guys in Brooklyn, and you had some guys in Queens, and it always became who can rock a party better. I mean, I just happened to be with the guys that more or less were more well known, like Cold Crush Brothers and Fantastic, because they had the most routines together. They had, they were more polished. Let's say that way. They were a little more polished than most other crews. But it was always like, there was always those rivalries and those basement crews that you had to watch out for, because people know their history. When Force MCs came out of Staten Island into Harlem World, they tore up Cold Crush Brothers. Because these guys, nobody expected what they were. These guys could sing. They had everything down packed. So that was a situation that wasn't even funny. But you had to watch for those guys. So, and to this day, you got to watch for that producer. Perfect example, when Dilla first came out, nobody knew Dilla anything. Dilla came out and just demolished the industry. Perfect example. You never know who's in that basement cooking.
At the age you are and the years you go under your belt, do you still have the same love when you hear a hip-hop record that you did when you were younger?
I still do. I mean, that's what keeps me coming back. For one, just the love for the culture as a whole, because if you ask me, am I, what do I think about hip-hop, I cannot make a comment on that, because that's what I know. That's what I live. I've been there from the inception. I didn't become hip-hop. I was already embedded into hip-hop when hip-hop created. So, to hear a funk record, back in the days, and to hear a hip-hop record gives me the same joy to hear something that's done properly, like the guys from Wu-Tang to Snoop Dogg, if something, Dr. Dre's records, and to me, people may find him to hear Too Short records when he first came out, even though some people didn't like Too Short, but what Too Short was talking about was 100% truth. You could not front on what he was talking about, you know what I'm saying? And to hear like Snoop Dogg, when the first Snoop Dogg first was introduced in Deep Cover, there was no more descriptive record than that record at that time. So those records, when you hear those, they give you that extra oomph in there. It makes a difference to me. And there's a few cats out here that I would say, that can have, like I can appreciate the Nipseys and all that stuff. But there's a few still that are still keeping to the trueness of the game.
There it is. Breakbeat Lou, live and direct. We got to hit him with the top 5. Actually, no, first, hang on, just because the date is March 20th. So recently we had the passing of Nathaniel Hale, better known as Nate Dogg. Tell him about the genius of Nate Dogg, if you will.
Nate Dogg, I mean, plain and simple. There's no better vocalist that I think could have ever touched the mic, male or female, in hip-hop, that will bring that soulful singing aspect to it than Nate Dogg. Nate Dogg, I mean, you could hear in all the records that he sung on that his passion for the art was there. There was a lot of artists that I could honestly say, if it didn't have the Nate Dogg seasoning, would not have been as popular as they are. I mean, from Regulate all the way to the Fabulous to 50, and even though these are established artists, but the Nate Dogg seasoning made a big difference, man. And that's a vocal that the most definitely was to be missed, and I put on there as far as classic as the best of them. You would say the Marvins and stuff like that. Not that I'm saying that he was the best as singer as they are, or whatever that, but the impact that he had on the industry that he was a part of is something that would be missed for sure.
Impact. What's interesting talking to you, because we've talked a lot tonight, which is great. I love it. You're probably one of the few people I've spoken with who kind of doesn't have that the sky is falling type of mentality towards Serato. Because you hear a lot of guys, Serato's messed up the game, But what I've seen, and tell me if I'm wrong, from what I've got from you, is that it's like you can have all the songs, but that doesn't mean it's going to give you context and skills.
Not at all. Okay, let's bring it this way. I'm a realist, and I'm a true to the oranges of everything. Serato has played as negative as he's played as the positive. The great thing about Serato is, for those DJs that do have a life that they travel a lot, it takes the weight off their backs, taking how we used to take back in the days, the cases of records to perform overseas or wherever they're going to perform. For example, I came over here. If I wanted to bring every record that I wanted to bring here, I would have had 2 planes, cargo planes full of records. I'm exaggerating, but that's what it would be that kind of situation. I was able to come with 245s my Serato files and be able to rock any part that I needed to rock, which wouldn't have been an issue. You know, it does play a pivotal part. What I say is this: if you're gonna rock Serato and don't get it twisted, you should touch a piece of wax in your life, not a control plate, a piece of wax in your life, because without that, you're not gonna be true to the art that you claim you're a part of. That's just a plain and simple. Because when you have celebrities calling themselves DJs, there's an issue. Mm-hmm. There's an issue, and if you're a DJ, please don't say I'm a hip hop DJ, I'm a turntablist, all I play is this. If you're a DJ, please play everything from Snoop Dogg, Raekwon, Wu-Tang, Drake. Yes, I said Drake. Yes, I say Drake. Because if you're at a party and you want to be hired by big money, sometimes you may have to play that Drake record.
It's a big item these days. A lot of cats are very upset about Drake, but you can't be mad. He's doing his thing.
Yeah, for real.
I mean, his path was different,
right.
But like he did a record with Ninth Wonder and Fonte that I loved a lot. It was really good.
Yo, he did a record with Knots that was bananas.
Oh, really?
Oh.
Just him and Knots? On the
Knots no, Knox did a beat for Drake that's never anything, and the record was phenomenal.
But I think he much like Slim Shady does the goofy crazy I'm gonna kill my mom
exactly.
type thing. Mm-hmm. Drake does his thing where he has to rap to the ladies and whatever. I mean that's
it is, and I'm gonna say this again. If you're a true historian of hip hop, we had the so-called happy rappers as well as we had the lyricists. You had Busy B and Love Buzz Starsky, and you had Melly Mel, Grandmaster Caz, and Kumo D. Hip hop was always a rainbow of styles. So just because you may not like the way Drake may rock or the way Gucci Mane, even I'm not excluding anybody. If the problem is not usually with the rappers, let's not say, because anybody that's offered a gold mine is going to jump at it. Corporate America is the one that's changed the game to the way it is, because they offering this big budget to these kids, and they say, okay, this is the formula that we want. And 90% of us, including myself, I want to say that if somebody gives me $1 million budget, I'm going to go, yeah, no, I'm not going to do that record. It's hard to pass up. No, it is. It's the realist, and that's what it is. The corporate America of music, I'm not calling it hip hop because it's not in the equation, is that they want, if something works for somebody and made $1 million selling record on this side, they want to create the same kind of record. That's just the way it breaks down.
Top 5, Breakbeat Lou. Top 5 producers of all time.
Top 5. At number 5, it goes twofold. The producers that produce Ultramagnetic, which is Sed G, T.R. Love, and Paul C. Number 4. I'm sorry, people don't think about. I would say Jay Dilla, and people may say he's number 1. I understand what they did, but it just as far as hip hop as a whole, Jay Dilla was to me 4. That's just my personal opinion. Number 3, I would say Pete Rock, because he changed the game in a big way. In that way.
How so?
Well, he brought the jazz aspect into hip hop in the sense that, or the, let's say, the abstract to it, like when he did the Reminisce and all that good stuff. It changed the game. And remember, at one time, if you wouldn't have touched by Pete Rock, your record was not doing anything. So he did that kind of thing. Number 2, just to bring it into a full focus, I'm gonna say Dr. Dre. He did a phenomenal job as bringing a whole new funk aspect to hip hop. And then to me, my number 1 has to be Primo. Primo is that dude because he just bringing the jazz aspect and the signature scratches. It's not even for choruses.
Precise.
It's not even funny. So that's just my dudes right there.
And cutting in, like, even on like the Most record where he cuts in somebody else saying Most.
I'm saying, he's killer.
It's simple mathematics, like,
And to be fair, at any given moment you can switch all those guys, and I don't think you can go wrong. In certain situations, if you bring up originality on records and to be daring, then number one will be Jay Dilla because he took it to that level. You know what I'm saying? But as you say, the way I like hip hop, Primo is my top dude. Because you heard some of the tracks out the way I do things. Primo had that knock, that snare that slap you in the face,
and that heavy bottom.
That heavy bottom. So that was Primo was my dude on that.
Ladies and gentlemen, Breakbeat Lou, we raise our glass to him. Today's lesson: do your homework, pay your dues. Deferment of gratification is where it's at.
Learning.
And learn.
And communicate.
Communicate. And, drop the gem that you did about knowledge, because he said something on the air that you need to hear.
There's a whole bunch of things that you can take in this world. You can have a job, you can take your job away. You can have health, your health could deteriorate. One thing they cannot take away from you, and that's knowledge. Something you learn. I don't think that they invented anything that can really, off the bat, without them, taking your brain out your head, is take your knowledge away. Something you learn, unless you want to literally put it behind you and not think about it, they cannot be taken away from you. So if you gain knowledge, it cannot be taken away. So take advantage of whatever you have to learn on the negative and the positive.
Breakbeat Lou.
Definitely, straight up.
Soundwaves episode.
Soundwave is so real. Let me tell you something. This is, and this wasn't even back, because I just cut them all. Sorry, dude. But
it's all good.
This crew over here has taken the love for just music as a whole. It's not even funny, but just to want to share and bring across something that should be shared with other people is incredible. And I had so much fun on this thing, and not even playing. That the music was a different story. Just seeing Abraham, nice brother, but just the communication and just being something that not being in a plateau that he does this because whatever accolades or that he does this because it's a platform that's being used for the right reasons.
Don't get paid. I got a day job.
Straight up.
But I'm true to my form. I like button-up shirts from JCPenney.
Straight
Stafford,
up.
big and tall.
Oh, don't get it twisted. I wear a shoe tight every day. This is just what I'm over here right now.
We're not going to tell you where he works.
There you go.
Soundwaves, we'll see you. Peace.
Peace.